Hello and welcome to the heart of it. We are coming to you from Gadigal land and we've just had the most inspiring conversation with a couple of fellas that are just incredible.
I know. I had a feeling it was going to be fab, and it's proven to be absolutely fabulous, as we had suspected. Anthony Ikin and Pete Cunningham are a married couple. They're a Brizzy couple, and they are a powerhouse husband and husband duo.
Yeah, so Pete's career, Pete comes from a TV production background. So some of his credits are Married at First Sight, The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and Vanderpump Rules. When he said that, I know it's a huge show. I know River, our son, loves it.
Yeah.
Are you?
Absolutely. I don't watch it. I've not seen Vanderpump Rules. It's been going for years. It's such a popular show. And Anthony, he's just built a career on energy and elevation and extraordinary performance. And he's been a world champion aerobics guy. He's done So You Think You Can Dance, my favorite show, and choreographer as well.
So together, they now create these jaw-dropping events, and they've just opened it.
Yes,
the Glo House,
and you'll hear about what the Glo House actually is. We won't give out too much information. They'll describe it later on. Yeah.
No, you can tell we're both buzzing from this chat. So let's dive into it. Love, business, sequence, spreadsheets,
parenthood,
and a little bit of sparkle.
Yes.
Enjoy.
So Anthony and Pete, thank you so much for talking to us on The Heart of It.
Thanks for having us.
Thank
We're very
you, guys.
excited.
Yes. It's my first podcast.
Is it really?
Is it really?
It is.
And look
It
at the
is.
microphone. You have been blessed with the sparkliest microphone on radio. It's a
Meant
beauty.
to be.
It is
Yeah.
a beauty. Oh, that's lovely. Oh, I'm so glad that we're your first. We've had a
Yes.
few first.
Ali's
peoples.
very gentle.
Okay, good. Yes, I'm feeling comfortable already.
I
Thank
can be
you.
a bit ham-fisted, but Al's very gentle.
But I kick him under the table a lot.
Great. I think that's what I'll be doing with Ant with this one. Yeah.
Don't say that. Well, look, let's start with your love story. We always like to start there. Your careers before the business that you're doing are just so interesting. We've got an incredible dancer, a reality TV producer, walk into a bar and go. How did you guys actually meet?
Okay, I'll let you tell our meeting
I'm telling you
story.
because it's way more embarrassing for Pete than it is for me.
Oh, God, I'm going to
okay.
go red. Yep.
So this is like 2007 or 2008. I should get the timings right, but I received a message on MySpace.
Oh,
And it was like,
MySpace.
Yeah,
yes,
MySpace.
back in the MySpace days. And Pete was pretending that he wanted to learn to dance to see if I did private dance lessons. And
smart.
Yeah, that was my pickup
That was
angle.
your bitch. And
Slash creepy.
did you do a private dance lesson?
No, he wrote back no straight away.
I wrote back no nicely. I think we can't actually log back onto MySpace to see this like message history.
Yeah.
But it was like a polite decline. And then literally like 2 nights later, I was out at a restaurant in Brisbane and I looked over to this other table and Pete was sitting at the table at the same restaurant and I was with my friend and I'm like, oh my God, I think that's that guy from MySpace that messaged me. And I, like, outside of a message feed, I got to see just him interact and his energy and he just looked beautiful and handsome and his, like, friends looked fun and it was just a vibe. So I went home that night and got back on MySpace and then started eagerly replying.
Yeah.
And then we went on like a bunch of dates and we dated for a short period of time. And then I broke it off.
And I was in love.
Oh, you broke his heart.
He did. I was 18. He was my first love, and he dumped me.
Oh, I'm so sorry. But I think I was 26 at the time and Pete was 18, turning 19. I like to just say turning 19 so I don't seem so
I think it
gross.
sounds a little bit creepy.
Yep.
And honest to God, I knew that he was such a great guy, and I thought there would be a future for us at some point, but just not then.
Yep.
And we stayed best friends between that breakup and then getting back together a bunch of years later. We were best friends and we used to travel together and just do everything together. And then I came crawling back in the end, confessing my love and just saying, I've loved you the whole time. And if you're keen, I think we can have a pretty spectacular future together. So it was one of those kind of love stories that took a while, but in the end it turned out perfect.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
so
It's such a
beautiful.
great story. Just back to that night when you were at the restaurant, Pete, were you aware that Anthony was sitting there and that you'd sent him a MySpace message? Can I?
Oh yeah. Oh, yeah, I
So
saw
what was
him.
that like for you, knowing? Oh my God, that's the guy I sent the message to.
Yeah.
Well, it was a funny situation because he had just written back and barred me basically. He was like, "No, sorry, don't do dance lessons for older people," because he was a dance teacher for kids, and I was like 18. So I was like, "Oh my God, how embarrassing!" There's that guy that I tried to pick up on MySpace, and he's over there, and he said no, and no, this is so awkward. But then I noticed he did keep looking over, and I was like, "Oh, something's happening here. Something's happening." And then that night, literally came home, saw a message in the old inbox.
And where had you seen? Like, I don't remember the MySpace, how that worked, but had you seen Anthony dance or had you seen pictures? Like, how did
Yes.
you know? Oh, okay.
I had seen him dance. There's a nightclub in Brisbane that doesn't exist anymore, but it was called Fluffy. And it was a Sunday night.
Yep.
And it was the best night out in Brisbane. And Anthony danced on stage every Sunday night. And I used to go and be like, "Oh, he is beautiful."
Yeah.
So I looked him up. I found him. And then back then it wasn't as easy to stalk someone. I can't, like, MySpace, it was like the top 8 friends or whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, I found him. I
But
found
you're
him.
a great creep. Like, even to this day, like, you can find anyone given like a phone and a period of time, and you can track down anything about anyone.
Yeah.
It's a skill.
Okay.
That's
All right.
a-
Well, look where that skill landed me.
Yeah, I mean that
That's
is
a
that.
fabulous term. You're a great creep.
Yeah,
I like
but
that. I
Is,
like
and
that.
is that the skill? That's like with Married at First Sight and those sort of things, taking you through that reality. You must have had
Yeah.
to use that skill in that part of your job.
Yeah,
almost.
yeah. Well, all those shows I worked on, I was both a story producer and a casting producer. So
Okay.
I had to find people in all corners of Australia and find people who didn't necessarily think they wanted to go on TV and convince them that they should. So
Right.
yeah, that's like, yes, it's definitely a skill of mine, I would say.
I imagine that is because we have a lot of different people come on the show, and producer is a word that's often thrown out, and I often think about our listener going, what is actually a producer? What does a producer do? You hear this word being thrown out, and so here you are talking about a story producer or a talent casting producer. Can
Yeah.
you just explain that, just for that?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of people, when I tell people that I was and am a reality TV producer, everyone sort of like has this, I guess, assumption that I'm a pot stirrer, a professional gossip, I guess, which look,
Which
that
I
is a-
am, but
yeah, that plays into it. But really, a producer, I guess there are a lot of different types of producers, especially across different mediums. Like I'm an event producer now, but as a reality TV producer, generally the main producer driving the storyline is a story producer, and we're standing behind the camera. We are directing the crews, seeing what's happening in front of us. I guess sort of steering the storyline in a way that makes sense so that people aren't just sitting there having boring conversations. You want them to be talking about something interesting. So we sort of thread the narrative of the show, and we're right there in the field with the, whatever show you're on. If it's Married at First Sight, you're there with your couple and following their story and sort of trying to fade into the background, but also be very present in their lives. So it's a very fun job. I did it for 12 years. I've stepped away now, but I'm sort of dipping my toes back in and out. So yeah, it's I love it. I love it.
I'm gonna just. I need to go back because I need to go back to
Yeah.
the love story. I have more questions.
Yeah.
Because I'm so interested in this. Our son has been with his boyfriend since he was 16, and his boyfriend's 18, 2 years older.
Yeah.
And we just love the boyfriend like so much.
Mm.
And I'm really nervous that it's like they've gotten together too young and you know what I mean? I'm like, are they going to make it? Like are they going to have to break up like you guys did and get back to, so I get really, as a mom, I'm like, oh, what's going to happen? You know, but they're perfectly happy and they've just got a dog together. So, you know, they're now 25 and 27. But so 26, you met Pete.
Yeah.
When did the background come? Yeah. Like when did you get married? So can you walk me through that timeline?
Yep. So once we broke up, I was 26. He was 19 by then. Let's just go with that.
Yeah, let's go.
And then like we were best friends in between. And during that time though, we both fulfilled a whole bunch of our own goals and aspirations.
Yeah.
And I just felt as the friendship developed over those 8 years in between, and then my love didn't necessarily grow stronger because I always loved him. Looking back, I always loved exactly who he was. It didn't change or anything. It just became like the timing was perfect.
Yeah.
And we were both ready to settle down. But to your point, I think it's a personality thing and it's a goals thing. I think we were really clear about who we were and what we wanted to do with our lives, and they didn't seem to match up when we were younger because I still wanted to dance all over the world and take on all these contracts. Pete was just starting out in his career and that had a lot of travel for him and it just didn't align at that time. Whereas some couples that meet really young, their goals are aligned and their aspirations kind of can happen together. Ours certainly didn't feel that way. So by the time it did feel like we were aligned, that's when I kind of poured my heart out. And then a couple of months later, we started to, you know, dip our toes into a relationship. And then it just kind of blossomed from there. And then cut to fast forward, I guess, like it was quite quick, I guess, about 18 months or so. And then I proposed to him in New York. And then a couple of years later, we were getting married in New Zealand. And here we are today. But additionally to that, we've got 2 beautiful children through surrogacy in the USA.
Oh, okay.
Who we absolutely love.
That's Betty and Nash.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm seeing pictures. I stalked you guys.
They are, our everything. Our little babies.
How old are the kids?
Nash is 4 and Betty's 2. So
we've got our hands full at the moment. They are,
that's
wild.
That's some pretty wild ages for sure.
Yeah.
Was there a moment for both of you when you knew not only do I love this man, but I can build something with him because you've built now two sort of companies, but when was that moment that you realized, this guy he's my life partner, but we're going into business as well?
It was definitely after that sort of transition period from friends back into boyfriends. We lived in Sydney together. I was working in TV. You were sort of between the Gold Coast and Sydney, and we made these plans to go to LA because Ant just happened to win the green card lottery, and we were
okay.
Right. Yes.
Amazing. We were like, what an opportunity. Let's go. Let's do it. So we went over there, and when we were over there, I had these. I just wanted to tick 2 boxes, which was work on The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, my favorite show ever. Tick that box. And also work on Vanderpump Rules, my second favorite show ever, and I ticked that box.
Well done,
and thank you. And once that was done, I was kind of we were talking a lot about what's our future going to look like, because we were talking about having children. And how's it all going to work with our jobs? We both travel so much, and we just started talking about what we could do together. And Anthony's always owned businesses and been very entrepreneurial, and I've never done that. So it was something I guess I didn't really think I could do, but he definitely helped me build up that confidence. And if you're going to ask me when did I know I loved Anthony, it was definitely when I was 18 and I saw him, and I just was completely besotted with him. And loved the hell out of him. and then as we went through that friendship period, I was like, everyone always would ask me, like, how are you friends with your ex? And I just thought, well, no, we're genuinely friends, and I don't love him. Stop asking me if I love him. But the love for me has always been there, always, and the love is still burning. and I think when we were in that period of being in LA, looking towards our future, that's when I really knew that this was it.
Yeah.
What's something about each other that still surprises you in the best possible way?
Anthony just has, how do I put this? He's just got some balls, honestly.
Figuratively and literally.
When we are working together every day at the moment, and he has no problem picking up the phone and calling someone and asking them an uncomfortable question. And you'd think that would be me as the reality TV guy. Like, I can do that when we're making television, but for some reason in my personal life, I'm quite introverted and shy. And I watch him and I'm like, oh God, sometimes I have to walk out of the room and just go, oh, you're so ballsy with the things that you ask and you need.
But I'm also I think that comes from just being more old school. I love handshake deals and talking to people on the phone versus emailing, and I like catching up and being in person versus all the other ways of communication these days. I think it does tie into the fact that I just like that old school way of operation. I think.
Yeah.
I'm much more like you, Pete. I am just, when there's a difficult conversation or things need to be asked, I'm like, Cam, and away you go. I'm gonna hide in the corner until it's all over.
and I yesterday.
And I'd rather do it in person too. I'm much more comfortable doing it in person than over an email because you can read someone's energy. You just have that personal thing, and also you can, if you do happen to make a faux pas in person, it's a lot easier to fix than over an email or over a text. Would you agree with that?
Yes, absolutely. And I find emails now, you can kind of sense that they're written by ChatGPT or like it's just a different way of communication now. Every email sounds beautiful and
structured.
Yes. Yes. So it's I strongly believe that being that old school way is going to be one of the strengths for businesses in the future. I know you can tap into AI and have that serve your business really powerfully, but there's still an element of human to human connection that I think we need to keep alive in business and in personal life. So that's my 2 cents.
Pete answered the question about what surprises you. What about you, Ant? What surprises you about Pete?
Do you know, it's the opposite of the way I behave as well. I love, and it surprises me, or it always surprises me, is Pete's handling of any situation that needs a solution or his reaction to things, which I admire so much. Is it might be an immediate kind of worst case scenario reaction, but then he goes really introverted and inward, and then you fast forward a couple of hours and the most spectacular result is produced from that. And I love that. I'm one of those annoyingly positive people, and I can't help it that if anything goes tits up, I automatically go positive, and like the solution has to happen within 30 seconds. And I know that about myself. I can't really fix it, but I much prefer Pete's handling of the situation because it takes him a bit longer, and it might go through some drama within those few hours, but the end results are always so much better.
Yeah, I think you've learnt to let me spiral. Let me
Yes.
have my spiral. Because we'll get there in the end.
Yes.
But if his immediate response of positivity, sometimes I'm like, can you shut up?
It would be so annoying.
It's like a tornado. You know how when a tornado goes, you're gathering stuff inwards. So you're gathering the information inwards in the spiral until it settles. And you're like, now I know what I'm doing. I know step one.
And what a great partnership that you have. So
Yeah.
it is a yin and a yang, and I often say ham and egging it. So one's doing, one's taking the lead, the other one's supporting, and then it flips. So that's the best way. It's what a great team you seem to.
Yeah,
have,
I agree.
partnership
It
you
feels
have.
that way too in business as well. Like all the things Pete is really good at, I don't want anything to do with.
Yeah.
Like as much as I like a catch up with a person in a meeting in the flesh, Pete is so good on the computer and spreadsheets and run sheets and tech schedules and like all the stuff I don't even know how to operate. And I feel like that's one of our strengths and why we work so well together is because neither of us want to do the other person's thing.
Yeah.
I sent him off to a networking event last night. That's my worst nightmare.
Hey, I was like 2 hours with no kids. Heaven.
well, speaking of the kids, do you ham and egg it the same way with the kids? How does that go?
I think as
Parenting.
parents, we're actually very similar. We're very similar
Yeah.
as parents. We both, I think from day dot, when we decided we wanted to have kids, it's just been, such a priority for both of us. But I would say definitely, and I was thinking about this the other day, actually, just we both, as parents do, I think we both slip up a lot, but we catch ourselves and we having a 2 and a 4-year-old is so stressful. And they find ways to like pull out your weaknesses and really test you, and we both do slip up and we do things that we're not sometimes proud of, but we will always pick ourselves up and we'll say to our kids, I'm sorry I just yelled at you, or sorry, and I've noticed that we both do that a lot, and in turn we see our kids doing that when Nash has like an absolute tantrum and he does something he knows and he throws something at the TV and then he'll go, sorry daddy, I shouldn't have done that. And it's like, oh
Yeah.
I think
Beautiful little darling.
Yeah.
But I do catch myself, like you're saying, in these like parenting moments where you're not proud of, or the other day I was like manipulating both of them to get the result that I want. But then like, which most parents I'm sure do, but then we crack it at them when they're manipulating us.
Oh, so true and all too familiar. All too familiar, having 3 of our own, that's for sure. Yeah. And it's, I think it's actually, hindsight, of course, is a wonderful thing. It's so much more challenging in the thick of it. But I think that's one of the things that is such a beautiful thing is when a parent does apologize. The kids need to see it. They need to see you. Sometimes you lose it and when you can do a heartfelt sorry, you're absolutely right. How else are they going to learn how to apologize? Because if mum and dad never do it, then it's like, well, why should I? So
Yeah.
Cam's done a lot of apologizing through the years.
And proud of it. I've come a long way. I used to apologise. I'm really sorry for that. But you did.
Yeah, don't do the butt.
So the butt's thankfully gone 20 years ago.
Yeah. That's right.
But that was a big learning curve.
And
for
also
me.
when the child says sorry, don't say thank you for saying sorry. But you shouldn't have done that.
Yeah.
Take the butt out of that one as well. Let the sorry
It's just
land.
let those things
Let
land.
the apology rest.
let it land.
Yeah.
That's good advice, actually.
Let it
Good
land
advice.
and let it go, and then walk away if you feel like you need to. Go and tell it to the lemon tree in the backyard.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you feel is the best thing about fatherhood?
I think it is not prioritizing yourself and having, for us, those two beings be our everything. And I think maybe that was a really important shift for me, but coming from this professional dance background and into this really, I guess, but in a good way, and I don't regret it, but like this selfish kind of lifestyle with that ego has to thrive to get ahead.
Yeah.
I loved the shift into parenthood, changing that for me, and it being all about the kids and way less about me. And I just love that. I actually prefer this version of me being about them.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah, definitely. I think, I mean, I love, I don't know if this is weird, but I love the fact that we've built our own little family together. And your family is so important to me. I've got a big, beautiful family, but growing up gay, having kids is something that feels so far away. Feels like, especially when we grew up, felt like it was impossible. And the fact that we have that now is, I just never take that for granted. It's so special to us. And the fact that we've been able to build our own family and have the life that really I always dreamed of is just something that makes me really warm and fuzzy.
Yeah. Was it difficult to go through the surrogacy in America? I mean, I know it's actually harder here, I believe. Was it challenging in America?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, I think, as you say, way more challenging here.
Yeah.
But in America, it's like its own industry, really. Like they've got it all set up. It's it's such a process over there that is very regulated, and we felt like we were in safe hands. But that all being said, oh my God, it was stressful.
And wildly expensive.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And but when you're going through it, you completely understand why you have to pay those elements. And it does make sense, but it just, you'd want this for so many more people. We would love to see more rainbow families, but it's so expensive and not possible for a lot of people. But it's like I said, it's hard because you understand why each component gets that amount of money to create that. But I don't have an answer for that. But that was one of the most challenging things too, is just going through that journey and everything that's involved. It was wild.
Guys, how long is that journey? Like from the moment that you call up or decide you ring an agency, or I don't know how it works, to the moment that you're actually holding your newborn. How long does that take?
I mean, for us, it was not too long. It was about 2 years.
Yeah.
Would you say that? Yeah. So about 2 years from when we decided we want to have a baby to when we had Nash, I would say. And for some couples, it takes a lot longer. We got blessed with the most amazing surrogate. She was just
incredible.
Oh, we just love her. She
did she have both the kids?
She did, yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Amazing.
So she, as soon as Nash was born, about a week later, she was like, "Let me know when you want to go again." You must love being pregnant. She's and interestingly, she was from a small town in Utah. She was Mormon, and she just, I guess we went into it being like, oh gosh, I don't know how this is all going to work, just because we didn't understand really Mormonism and is that a word, Mormonism, and and how it was all going to work. Whether was she allowed to do this, everything. Anyway, it all turned out she was just so gracious in what she was doing for us, and so beautiful and easy, and she kept checking in on us, making sure we were okay. At one point, she did lose a baby, so we went through that as well with her, and we just got so lucky. So our journey was really special, and we got really blessed with her. But you know what? All surrogates are incredible women, because to do that, to carry someone else's baby, and it's not just herself carrying it, but it's her family. She has her own children. Her husband is there by her side the whole time. It's a whole thing, and we just love her.
She's beautiful. She messaged us recently and said, "Do you want to go again?" And we were like,
"Nope,
absolutely not." But thank you.
Sorry, hon, we're done.
Ali did that with us too, because we had our two kids who were who are obviously older than our third, but Al's like, I think we need to go again. It's like, really? I mean, we were flying back and forth from LA to Australia a lot, and was one child each, and also the rows that I was set up in the airplane were for 4 seats. And I'm like, if we do another one, we could do it 2 rows. It's going to work.
I know. Coming from a family of 7.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What would you guys love for your children to take from you as they grow up, as from who you are?
One of the beautiful things of our children growing up with 2 dads, and what we're seeing at kindy and hearing all of the kids say, is just to have this generation grow up in a time where 2 dads is just normal. 1 mum's normal, 2 mums are normal, grandparents raising kids. It's just, there's so many varieties of family, which is such a beautiful thing. But what I think that leads to more than anything is just this natural value of acceptance, no matter what the scenario is. And I feel like that certainly wasn't around when I was growing up in the 80s and 90s. But now it just feels like it's thriving. Like when we walk in, sometimes the kids go, "Now she has 2 dads." And then I always make it a point to go, "Oh yeah, he's got 2 dads. How lucky is he?" And some people have 2 mums, and some people have a dad and a mum, or they just have a mum. And you can just see the eyes on the kids' faces. They light up, and there's no
weirdness to it. Yeah. The other day, Nash, one of the girls said, "Nash, why do you have 2 dads?" He said, "Because I want to." So cute.
Oh, that's such a good answer.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
God.
I think anything, with that mindset of just like loving everyone for who they are and everyone mind your own business kind of mindset, I think it's just a beautiful thing to be able to grow up with, and to be able to see what's possible for their lives with that mindset, I think is pretty incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. We've been told multiple times that both of our kids, they're so different, but they're both so confident, and they both have so much personality. All their teachers are like, "Oh my God, whatever you guys are doing, keep doing it," because these kids are like the leaders in their class. That makes me so proud. And I think growing up as a kid, I didn't have a lot of confidence, but I'm so, Auntie brings a lot of confidence to our family. And I think, I as a parent, I feel like I am really confident. I feel like I'm doing a great job.
Yeah.
And I think that is what I really want to instill in them, is that to never lose that confidence.
Yeah.
Well, can I tell you an example of Betty's confidence?
Yes.
And maybe I've brought too much confidence to the family, but she loves to strip all her clothes off, nappy included. She puts on these cheap plastic little Elsa high heels.
Oh yeah.
And she just struts down the house hallway nude, singing at the top of her lungs, "Let It Go" to anyone. And then she ends up in front of the mirror and just loves to watch herself sing nude in plastic heels.
You go, Betty. Yes.
Go, Betty. Yeah.
And Ob's were in the background like, "Yes, queen."
Yeah.
You have a Betty, we have a Bodhi, and Bodhi's our third, and she was the one who used to put a mop in the bucket upside down, and that was her microphone, and she'd be carrying stuff around.
Yep, naked, not naked, public, not public.
And then our son Riv,
Yeah.
who Ali was telling you about before, Rivy, we couldn't keep his clothes on. He was just walking around naked as well all the time.
Naked.
But what I was going to say is Riv loved the monkey bars, and every house we had, we always built monkey bars for the kids to so they would, just become strong and get confident in their body. One thing that as he grew older, he ended up in circus training, and that was his thing. He started in gymnastics. He wasn't so into that, but he really gravitated toward the silks and doing floor routines and things with his girlfriends. And this is the thing, Anthony, you're a dancer, and I think one of the great things about dancers is they're really aware of their space and their body and where they are. And that's such as a performer, it's such a great quality to have and to understand. Is that something that the kids, Betty and Nash, do they have that innately, or are you teaching them, or how does that going?
And I agree, I'm so thankful for having that dance and gymnastics training young. I think it's one of the most powerful things to do, even at the very junior level, for your basic motor skills and awareness and movement. I think it's so good. So we've got both of our kids do gymnastics, and then Betty does dancing on another day, and Nash does Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Oh, cool.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
And the gymnastics is for all of those things that you were just saying. And they love it because there's all those fun things they can run wild with. Betty just loves dancing and singing, so we put her in that. But Nash isn't really into jiu-jitsu, and we're not trying to force him, but there's just one part of it that I love in these classes is the respect that they teach, and in any of their little wrestles, they shake hands straight after, they do a bow before they go into a wrestle, and I just love that kind of respect that it teaches him. He still has a lot of fun, but they're kind of the activities we have them in at the moment, and for those reasons you were saying.
And after owning a dance school for 20 years, Anthony said, "I'll never be a dance mum," and he's turning totally into a dance mum.
It's creeping in.
Do you miss not performing, Ant? Do you miss any of that professionally?
Not really.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's I did it right up until the point where I was like, this is my last show. And I think I was like 33 at that time as a dancer, and I knew it was the last thing I was going to do, and I loved what it was that I was doing. And I just ticked all the boxes that I wanted to tick as a dancer, and I was very aware and could see how good the new generation were that were coming through.
Right.
So it was kind of just like a combination of all those things. Yeah. It helped a little bit that I went straight into working as a choreographer and creative director on a couple of things, so I still kept that passion alive. I don't do much of that anymore, but the transition from dancer into that helped. And then now it's we still get to be creative in the business that we've got now, which I still love, but I certainly don't ache to be back on stage anymore.
Yeah.
When you mentioned the Brazilian jiu-jitsu, our neighbours in the States were into capoeira. And the dad used to sit on the front front porch with the capoeira, the string going dang, da, dang, 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 dang. I suddenly thought of you guys sitting on your front porch while Nash is doing his capoeira, tapping out a rhythm for him.
You have co-created some of the most incredible events. I think so. Is it correct to say that you're a bit more visionary, and then Pete, you're like spreadsheet guy? Is that how it normally splits, or do you sort of cross over creatively and have the ideas come together?
Yeah, we definitely cross over. So the way we sort of split it is we say Anthony's front of house and I'm back of house.
Yeah.
But creatively, we definitely cross over because I've grown up in creative industries, and I'm all about the drama and making sure everything is overdone and dramatic and just putting on a show. And that's, you're very much the same. So I think we have this nice balance, definitely, and we creatively we definitely are in tune that way.
Yeah. I think Pete's background as a story producer in TV really helps, because we make every event a story. So when people arrive, they're hooked into the whole event, but it's through storytelling really right up until when they leave. And I think that's one of the skills that you have that certainly helps our business be something different to the others.
And it really comes through creatively when it comes to the what entertainment we're putting on, what show we're putting on, and like the run of the show as a creative director and sort of director on the day. That's definitely his forte.
Oh, there's always singers, dancers, feathers, sequins, you name it.
I mean, and it must make for such a dynamic life, because things are always changing for you guys.
Yeah. It does. And we're learning as we go. Like, one of the things we laugh about is that we're about to get into a really busy period, and it's all events or weekend work, and we didn't have a plan with the kids and who's going to help or babysit, and we're getting busier and busier, and it's just like, crap, like we haven't figured this part out.
Yeah.
But you just learn as you go, and we've got some beautiful help around us.
Yeah.
But yeah, we love it.
We're flying on the edge. We're trying to figure it all out as we go. Yeah.
I had the great pleasure of working with American director Jerry Mitchell, who created Legally Blonde.
Amazing.
Wow.
And Jerry, he's such an interesting fellow. He comes from a dance and choreography background, and he's really clever with doing that choreo. But he's evolved his thing into like one of his businesses is designing airport flow, traffic flow through of things like that. And I'm kind of getting that with you guys, that the sky's the limit for what you guys can put your talents to.
Yeah.
And where your talents lie. Tell us about the latest one. Is it Glo House? Yes?
Yes, our new baby.
That's why we're not having a third kid, is because this business is. But
yeah. So what is it?
We started as event producers originally with our company called Glo Events. And we produce other people's events, be it galas or huge celebrations or weddings or private functions. But we always wanted to have our own venue, and we didn't know what that would look like at the beginning. But just based on industries and people we're following, our algorithm started showing us these events in Europe and America that were pretty spectacular in these glass atrium type structures. They're like the most high-end, beautiful marquees made out of glass, and what you can do in these beautiful atrium structures is endless. And then that kind of planted the seed for us of, Brisbane needs something like that. Like there's this real buzz around Brisbane at the moment. We're 7 years out from an Olympics. There's so much business coming here. People are wanting to push boundaries and be different and level up. And we started to pitch this idea to the powers that be in Brisbane. And for us, it was lucky that we could get in with council and say, what about if we had this structure that we could rotate between your most pristine parklands around Brisbane, and people could book their events inside the Glo House at the Botanic Gardens or your Roma Street parklands and things. And it just so happened that they were up for all of that at that point in time. And then it just started to flow from there. We started to speak to suppliers to have it built, bring it over to Australia. And now we're in that exciting but insanely overwhelming and stressful period of like, we've launched it and now we're like, people need to book it.
Yeah. It's that sort of moment where you hold your breath and you go, is this going to work? Is this going to work?
And what would you experience in the Glo House? Walk us through what, I mean, is it more like is it sort of someone goes, oh, I want a wedding and I want it to be this, and this, but that's kind of what you've done with your events. But what's going to be different about the Glo House? How does that going to operate?
I think it's one of those experiences that if you put it inside, because everything is fully transparent, so you can see through the roof, the walls, everywhere you can look, and we've got it set up inside these parklands.
Yeah.
So you arrive at your event, and if you picture this, you arrive and it's just before sunset, and you have your cocktail hour canapes around the Glo House. And then when the sun starts to set, you walk in and you're seated at your event, but you can see the stars, you can see everything happen around you. You can have drone shows outside or fireworks above, and you're inside the space.
Right.
And it's just this brand new type of offering that we're trying to bring to the event scene. And like I said, there's been the most spectacular versions of this done in Europe and New York, but we're like, let's level up Brisbane.
Yeah.
Let's make Brisbane the global city that it wants to be and will be, and kind of introduce something like this right now. And that's the point that we're at. And to be honest, the reason we're so stressed and overwhelmed is because we only launched on Sunday. So it's like,
it's so fresh. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
We put it to market literally a few nights ago.
Yeah.
And it's
just been, it's been such a educational process, especially for me, I think. But it's also now like, okay, we've put so much on the line. We've thrown everything at this.
Yeah.
Everything.
It needs to work.
Yeah.
It
Okay,
needs to work.
so in those moments of, oh shit, what have we done? Which I imagine in the last few days, there's been a couple of them going, oh my God. How do you support each other?
It's hard because most of mine are at 3 a.m.
Yeah, I understand that. Yeah, I relate to that one.
Yeah, right.
Rubs my back and I'm like, oh my God. And then the kids are going to be up in like an hour and a half or something like that. And your brain at that time goes to worst case scenario. But I think that's just...
Do you know what? We have the most incredible mentors in my parents. My parents are incredible business people. I've got I've got 2 brothers and a sister. So we've got 4 of us. When I was in grade 3, they picked us up, moved us over to Nashville, and started a business and took the biggest risk of their lives. And that really paid off for them. It was a huge success. And I always look back on that time in our lives and just go, now that was taking a risk. That was really incredible. And they've really instilled that in us. And so through all these stressful times, yes, we have each other, but we also have my parents, and we're both like, we call them multiple times a day, asking them questions. So they are really have been our rocks in this.
Pete, are they still entrepreneurs? Are they still working, or are they?
Oh yeah, definitely. They sold their business probably about 6 or 7 years ago now, but Dad is right into the business world, and he's a huge investor in things, and now they actually own a racehorse breeding farm in Scone. And
in Scone.
In Scone. So my brother runs that, and racing has taken over the family. It's just, I never knew it was such a big deal with them. They loved it so much, but now we're a racing family apparently. But no, so they they will never stop. They're both incredibly driven people, and my mum's the social queen of Brisbane. So
look, you had me curious, because I'm a country musician. I love country. What was Nashville? So
Nashville, as well as being the country music capital, is also weirdly the healthcare capital. Like there's a lot of, it's like the hub of healthcare, the healthcare industry in America. Don't ask me why, I don't know. But my dad saw a gap over there for the Australian practice of physiotherapy in America. So in America, it's called physical therapy. Yeah. And basically thought, Australians do it better. I'm going to take the practice over there and, take some Australian physios with me and train them up. And it just proved to be hugely successful. So random. That
is visionary, isn't it? When you see the gap in the market and know, that's amazing. Well, I'm thinking like you could do a Glo submarine. And a Glo
you wouldn't
hot
see
air
much
balloon.
in the Brisbane River, honey. It's pretty as it is.
No.
It's a little muddy.
Like a see-through boat, so you could. Wouldn't that be cool? If you need more ideas, just come to me. I tell you, I'm gonna make it real easy.
And they happen at 3:00.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Has there been something for events that like, what's the wildest thing that someone's asked you to see if you can do, but you just like, this is just an impossible task, or have you actually been able to pull it off?
Oh my God. I want to give a random one, but it's not like impossible to pull off. But when we're at events and we're clearly directing everything, people could just come up to you, think that you are their fixer for anything. So we were producing a wedding a couple of weeks ago. The mother of the bride just storms up to me. He's like, "There's no toilet paper in the toilets." Next minute, I'm finding dunny paper and taking it to the.
I've got a better one. This isn't like a big wild request, but Anthony has a phobia of carbonated drinks, right? So bubbles. So literally, never in his life has he touched a champagne, a beer, a soft drink, anything. And
I'm going weird talking about
the
it.
thought of the bubbles somehow freaks him out. And now that we're in events and everyone's drinking champagne, people are always coming up to you asking you, "Can you please top up my champagne?" And I've honestly, I've never thought I'd see the day where he would pour someone a glass of champagne, but you've done it.
I had to. It's like sink or swim. And I'm really tall, so I'm the first person people spot to fix anything at an event. So they just come storming straight towards me.
Yeah.
And that's really weird.
How tall are you, Anthony?
I'm 6'3".
And a dancer. That's
Yes.
amazing to me because
Yeah.
I always use that as an excuse of why I couldn't dance. Clearly
And
not.
I say you cannot use that excuse. Because he's a musician. I'm like, come on, get the hips moving.
Yeah, oh, well, I don't
Yeah.
mind doing that. It's just getting the feet moving at the same time. It's just a little bit clumsy.
Is there a wild and unconventional idea that you two want to bring to life that you've sort of got stirring? I mean, obviously, Glo House is enough right now, but is there something even more that you're like, imagine if?
Oh my goodness.
We bounce ideas off each other every
Yeah.
day. There's, I lived in London for a while, and the stuff they do over there is honestly incredible. And I don't know if you've seen it, but there's like these, I guess they're nightclubs or event spaces, but it's like the ABBA nightclub where everyone gets up and sings ABBA songs, and we are just so desperate to pull something like that off in Brisbane.
Yeah.
Just make it transform, do this one big event that transforms everyone into, we're thinking like Priscilla or something.
Yeah.
But just do something fun like that. But yeah, we've in terms of events and ideas, we're constantly trying to think of what we could do that's new and different.
Yes. And it's also like, I just wish we had the budgets like they do overseas. So we're always handcuffed with, it's not terrible and it's certainly getting better, but you can only produce so much with what you're given. So it's like, we're just trying to create magic. And part of why we do it is to always do something different and unseen and unique so that when people come to a Glo event or at the Glo House, it's like, I've never experienced that before.
Yeah.
And that's what we love, is coming up with different ways, whether it be through entertainment or through food or through any event experience that they walk away going, that was friggin' cool.
That's great.
Have they tapped you for the Olympics yet? Have they sort of said, hey guys, we want you to do something?
Yes, but we're not saying.
Okay,
is the
don't ask that question.
No, I mean, the roles they're filling for the Olympics at the moment are certainly more the senior kind of make shit happen kind of roles of CEOs and teams to build an infrastructure and all of that kind of stuff. But creatively, we certainly want to throw our hand in the mix there.
Oh, yeah.
I got to choreograph the closing ceremony of the Commonwealth Games on the Gold Coast.
Yeah.
And I loved it so much. I mean, creatively, you can't do anything. You have to work with so many bodies and volunteers and different groups. But it's like that kind of job en masse with those many bodies was so incredible to be part of. So I certainly see Glo Events, or what we do creatively, being involved for sure.
Absolutely.
That's so exciting.
Can't wait to see what you do. Cannot wait to see what you.
I want to go to a Glo event.
Yeah, so do I.
Oh, no.
We'll fly. We'll fly up to Brisbane. We'll fly to you to come to an event.
Since we've just launched, do you want to book the Glo House?
There we go.
Take away my stress.
I know, right?
Any of your kids' weddings, we're here.
How big is the Glo House? Is it as big as you want it to be, or adjustable?
Well, so currently it's 450 square meters. So we're saying it seats like 250 to 300.
Yeah, perfect.
But you can actually just keep adding bays to it. It's modular.
Yeah.
So that's the current structure we got, where if we need to expand it for your kid's wedding, we will.
There you go. Right on.
Done.
All right, guys, we do a rapid heartbeat thing to wind it up. It's been fantastic speaking with you both.
Oh, thank you so much.
Guys.
Both answer the question, please. For question number 1, what brings you joy?
Family.
Kids came straight to my mind.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Is there one moment that you would both like to revisit in your life?
I think if we could, when we moved to America and got the timing all wrong, because it was literally just before COVID, we only got a couple of months good in there. I would love, our original plan was to have our kids over there right up until maybe like grade 5 or something and then move home. Even though I love our life and what we've built here, I do wish we could redo that and not have it be what it was.
Like forced out sort of thing.
Yes.
Yeah. That was unfortunate. But we got our babies.
Exactly.
I think if I were to revisit a time in my life, not to redo, but just to sort of go back and appreciate it, it would be those years growing up in Nashville. Yeah. I was so young and didn't quite understand the gravity of what my parents had done and the experience that we were getting. But, we were there for 4 or 5 years and my happiest memories are there. And I just think, how incredible. I just would love to go back and see what we were actually doing and what we were, I remember it fondly, but I'd love to revisit it.
Yeah.
It's also why our boy's name is Nash. There's a loosely linked to Nashville.
Got it.
And just for the other side, is Betty Elizabeth or Betty?
Just Betty, and my grandmother was Betty Diamond. How good is that for a name?
Oh,
but she passed
she wasn't
away.
a stripper, right?
No, she wasn't. Our Betty is.
That's right. She's taken on that
Betty's
mantle.
making up for lost time.
Right. And there's a Betty song by Taylor Swift, right?
There is.
Yeah.
But I think Betty in that song wasn't a very nice person.
I think so. I think Betty was mean, right?
Yeah. So I was like, oh my God, yes, Taylor Swift. And then I was like,
we'll ignore that, Betty.
We're big fans of Betty White. So, yeah.
Hey, I read Betty White's book to Betty last night.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, on her way to sleep. And her story, it's one of those kids' book, but it's her story and it's just gorgeous.
Amazing. All right. What the world needs now is...
what's the opposite of divisiveness? Like
equality.
It come together. Like not to be so like you're on the left, you're on the right, you like this, you don't like that. Like just to come together and have more acceptance and let people be and think what they want and it not be so like toxic.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say, I mean, the first word that came to mind for me was equality. I think we see that firsthand and we've seen that firsthand our whole lives. And we want our kids to grow up in a world that's much better than the ones we grew up in.
You talked earlier about confidence and something that I found in my research about confidence is inclusion. And when you just said that and about what is it when you all come together is of just feeling included.
Yes, absolutely. No matter what your stance is or history is or circumstance is, like just inclusion as a whole.
Yeah. Last question. One word to describe each other.
I would say one word to describe you is passion in every single area of your life. As a dad, as a worker, as a husband, the most passionate person I've ever known.
Oh, that's a hard one to follow. The first one that came to my mind was heart. Because I think even though you're more introverted than me, every decision you make or you lead with your heart, and that's with our family and with our business. And I think you're just such a loving soul, and I love that about you.
Well, this has been nice.
Yeah, well, okay.
You set her off. I'm not going to tell her that you actually read, the title of this podcast being The Heart of It, and that's why you got the trumpet.
Shit.
That was so beautiful. Okay, you two.
Thank you so much. How lovely.
you.
This has been great.
Oh,
It's been so nice.
So beautiful talking to you both. Congratulations on the Glo House. I have no doubt it's going to be an enormous success, and because you put so much love and passion and heart into it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Anthony.
Thank you.
Thanks, Pete.
Thank you.
We've loved it. Thank you both.